Party people! Welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I'm your host as always, Jeff Stormer. This week on the show, I am joined by Huffa for a game of Between the Skies. Between the Skies is a cosmic fantasy game of travel and exploration across endless worlds. It's also a set of modular procedures, tables, and methods that can help spark your imagination in any game of weird fantasy adventure. It's got hundreds of pages of tables and procedures to spark the creation of endless strange worlds, their inhabitants, and going on, building everything from encounters, NPCs, factions, adventuring sites, and spells to creatures, petty gods, demons, characters, you name it. If you like fantasy adventure games or just fantasy role-playing in general, which I have a feeling you might if you are here, this game is extremely up your alley. You should absolutely go check it out at huffa.itch.io or check the show notes for more information. A quick note before we dive in, thank you to our newest Patreon backers, Molly Simpson, Joe White, and Adira Slattery. Patreon backers get access to bonus shows like Party of 1+1, which is our special sequel spotlight series, one-off recordings like Batman Bump in the Night, which is the fanfiction actual play podcast that my friend Martin and I put together, and a whole bunch of other stuff. You can find more information about that at patreon.com/JeffStormer. But first, a note that this episode is sponsored by Multitude Productions and their actual play podcast Join the Party as part of their direct creator support initiative. The actual play community is full of incredible creators telling some of the most imaginative stories in all of entertainment, and as fans of the art form, Multitude want to keep finding new ways to support AP creators and their audiences. And to get an idea of some of the amazing work that's being done in the actual play space, look no further than Join the Party. Join the Party is an AP podcast focused on genre-pushing storytelling and celebrating the artistry of its cast and collaborators, and just being a love letter to the medium in general. Their current campaign, they're playing Masks, which is all about teenagers dealing with the drama of superhero high school. If you know me, you know that I love Masks a whole lot, and so that is extremely up my alley. And if you're a fan of actual play storytelling, you should absolutely go check it out and see if they become your actual favorite, well, maybe your second favorite actual play podcast. Check out Multitude and join the party at jointhepartypod.com or connect with them at jointhepartypod on Instagram, Blue Sky, Tumblr, Facebook, or Twitter, and be sure to let them know that Party of One sent you so that they know that their direct creator support initiative is working. And with all that said, let's go ahead and throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. I am so excited to be sitting down today with Huffa. Huffa, thank you so much for coming on Party of One.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm so stoked for today's game. I am so excited. Before we dive in, though, why don't you take a moment and let our lovely listeners at home know about what we're playing today, as well as anything else that you might want them to know about.
Sure, absolutely. So we're playing Between the Skies, which is a game that I wrote over the past couple of years that's currently about to release in a couple of days on Exalted Funeral in a complete hardcover edition. Between the Skies is a game of cosmic fantasy exploration, and it is also a kind of toy box to use in any game that includes weird fantasy, cosmic fantasy, in the vein of something like Planescape or the weird fantasy of M. John Harrison or even Jeff Vandermeer. And it is primarily a series of procedures, a extended amount of advice on how to run games, and a very large amount of random generation tables for everything that you could possibly need in a game, from creatures to NPCs to locations to a starting situation to several different kinds of character generation. And the core concept of the game is that rather than depending on a single system to support play, you can support play by things like a multitude of procedures, a multitude of resources to create imaginative content, and advice on how to run a game in a loose and open way. And that those things can be another way to get started and support play, aside from depending on a single system. So there you go.
I love it. Let me ask you this, like, as we're sitting down to play today, we've got a little bit of a scenario in front of us. What are you looking forward to? What are you bringing to the table? What's on the top of your mind as we sit down to share this game today?
So I'm really excited about this game because what I did for you was take the character that you created, who is a professional wrestling heel, which I quite appreciated, and sort of riffed on that to create a scenario sort of based around things that might engage with that character. And I've created it entirely from generators in Between the Skies. So everything was created over the last couple of days using the resources in the book. There's nothing pre-generated for this scenario. So it's really going to be a look into the kinds of things that the toy box of Between the Skies can give rise to.
I'm so excited about that, especially because like this character that I've created, who I'll introduce in a moment, was like also just I sat down, I cracked open some tables, I rolled some dice, and like got some prompts that went like, okay, this is what is fun to me about this prompt, and then just started combine that with the natural brain poison that is eroding my soul at all moments of all hours of the day, and found myself, as listeners will almost assuredly predict, with a weird professional wrestler. Um, so the character that I've created, I'm gonna go through like the character table results and then kind of give the overarching background. I was rolling on what was called the Through the Looking Glass character creation, which is sort of a person from a normal world cast into a weird world isekai through the looking glass adventure. And let me ask you this actually, like what was the last isekai or isekai related or through the looking glass style thing, story, game, movie, show that you have engaged with? Like what's the most recent one off of your list?
The most recent one is actually my current ongoing game. I am doing a game using the Through the Looking Glass character generation, and it has been very strange and weird. And I've to some degree used Gardens of Yin by Emmy Allen, but really riffed very far from that. And the thing that I've really loved about how this character generation works is I'm playing with a lot of people who've never played role-playing games before in my regular game night, and it gives them kind of emotional hooks in extremely strange circumstances to ground play for people that aren't necessarily familiar with weird fantasy. So I've been really enjoying it.
I really love that. So most recently, and this I think partially infused the character, but like I have been watching. My wife and I started watching the Suicide Squad Isekai cartoon that's on HBO Max. It's great, it's funny, but they did a thing that is so weird. They made a character choice that is so delightfully strange that it kind of like seeded into my brain, where they made Clayface into like genre conscious Tumblr sexy man in a way that is the greatest, like that in retrospect makes all the sense in the world, but truly just like it's disarming when you first come across it. But like that kind of energy was very in my head as I started to roll on tables. So the tables that I rolled on, the character that I got was a vain, scandalous technician. And technician I could have taken in a lot of ways, but when I hear technician, I think about professional wrestling, I think about grappling, I think about submission holds. And so a scandalous wrestler is a professional wrestling heel, which is complemented by the fact that I also got that they were a disarming lover, which ties in another one of my great loves in life, which is I had to check to make sure I was not wearing a Street Fighter t-shirt right now. Uh Street Fighter is my beloved. Street Fighter is a thing that my heart belongs to, and so making a character in a sort of like Vega-esque, obsessed with romance and his appearance, the material pleasures of fame, image obsessed, self-obsessed heel was very appealing to me. This character was recently fired, which I noted as saying I could not help that they cannot match my finder's fee. If my local Fed cannot afford me, I shall instead go somewhere that will respect me. I'm already feeling the character's energy. I'm very excited. This character's notable. Actually, I'm going to go into our notable abilities as they come up in play. I'm seeing if there's anything. So I'll just kind of give the overarching character bio. I am playing the guilty pleasure, Desmond LaFleur, a world-class heel, reviled and beloved in equal measure in the ring. He is also a son of a bitch inside and outside of the ring. As arrogant as his character, with as little regard for his opponents, he has burned a bridge for every opportunity he has been given. He was told about a lucrative opportunity somewhere just up the road from his last gig. He drove and drove until his car ran out of gas, and he has found himself somewhere new. Oh well, more suckers to impress with the next show.
Great. I love it. I love it. And shall we start?
Let's kick off.
All right. So, one opening question I have for you.
Yeah.
Describe to me in a couple of sentences your biggest professional wrestling rival and tell me their name.
My biggest professional wrestling rival was my biggest professional wrestling rival was Ellen Mortal. Ellen Mortal was a masked baby face. Actually, I carry with me the mask that I ripped off of his face, whether it was in a legal mask versus hair match or as a devious act is to be decided. But he was a masked wrestler. He was like a very classical wrestling hero. We have fought each other 1,000 times over, and it is one of those rivalries where it's not so much an ethical opposition or like differing personalities. It's simply they are the one person that I cannot beat. They always have my number, and yet also at the same time I always have theirs. Like there is always a sort of sense of that we are pushing each other to that next level, and like it is a constant escalation that might only end when one of us is pushed to ending our career.
Wonderful. Okay, love it. All right. So, with that little bit of information, you are driving, you're in South Dakota, and you're driving. The tip that you've gotten is implausibly in the middle of nowhere in the Badlands of South Dakota. And you've driven, and just as you're about to run out of gas, you see the address just a turn off of a road, off of an interstate, with a long dirt road heading off in with the Badlands surrounding you everywhere, and a kind of rundown TV station looking building with like a couple of like satellite dishes that does not seem to be in very good shape. You get out of your car after you run out of gas, and you see someone like running towards you out of the door of this TV station, yelling, "Oh, hello! You must be the demon we summoned. Is that right, Desmond? Desmond?"
Oh, I love a good bad first impression. And I think like reaches into opens the back door of his car, reaches and grabs an 8x10 photo, signs it and like hands it off to this person without a word and goes, I'm been driving a little bit too long to fully turn on the gimmick, but here you go. Tell your friends that you met me, and it will be the most impressive thing that has ever happened to you.
So this person who you now see as they approach you is a slim man in a very expensive and up-to-date suit that he's obviously been wearing for like several days straight, and a nice haircut that similarly has not been washed in far too long. Takes the photo from you, looks at it, oh, well, yes, well, thank you. Yes, that you do seem to be the one. How about just follow me? I have a few things to show you. We'll go inside, yes?
Yes, of course. I assume the first thing will be the green room where I will be able to change and, do my face.
Let's just go with yes to that one. Okay,
sure.
I'll understand. Come inside.
Sort of like idle, not really like watching where he's walking. I think watching his fingernails more closely than like any of the directions that he's walking in. Kind of strolls leisurely behind, heads inside, isn't really taking in any of the details around him. let me ask you this: like, what's something that I'm not seeing? Like, what's something that I am missing as I am fully absorbed in my self-indulgence?
Yeah, so you walk in to what otherwise looks like a pretty nondescript kind of office studio space, except that directly in front of you are floor to ceiling windows opening onto an almost impossible to imagine scene that uh, Derek, is his name, is trying to get you to pay attention to, of a floating world miniaturized to the size of a small room, and he's like, and this, and you haven't seen it yet.
Mhm. Um, I think how does Derek react when like I almost walk into it? Like I'm just like walking forward, not really looking. I've taken out like my I'm watching my fingernails. I'm dusting them off on my shirt, and like I almost walk into this running into the miniature world itself. How is Derek reacting to that?
There is fortunately glass there, but I think Derek is like so preoccupied with making his presentation that he doesn't really notice until you've actually hit the glass. It's like, sir, Desmond, please. I don't think you can break that, but you certainly wouldn't want to.
And I think like bumps into the glass, like looks at Derek with a level of betrayal of like, why did you allow me to break that like why did you allow me to run into the glass? And then Derek may as well not even exist as all eyes are on this miniaturized world. Like Desmond's mouth is agape. It's just, now what have we here?
And it looks like a kind of floating island world, like you would imagine like a JRPG world map.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, where like all the different pieces of terrain are like super compressed right next to one another. So there's big mountains, there's like an ocean, there's a swamp, and you know, a deep lake and a river swirling around. And it's all sort of not only miniaturized, but like I said, like kind of stylized and compressed the way you would imagine like a JRPG map. And as you're looking at it, Derek is like, oh, well, I apologize for allowing you, but regardless, I'm glad you're enjoying the world. And my gift to you as our new hire is that your job is to destroy it.
Destroy it.
Destroy it. Destroy the world.
Uh-huh. Well, I
That's
have
right.
several questions.
Sure.
I'm sure you probably have guessed the first one.
I haven't. I'm sorry, sir. I haven't.
How much am I being paid to destroy the world?
You will be paid far more money than any other job you have ever gotten. I'm not even sure we could really sort of ontologically classify it as payment. You get whatever you want. Think about it that way.
Damn. 4 figures. Okay. Interesting. And now I suppose I should be asking the less interesting things, the hows and the whys and the why me's, but wanted to make sure we got the important questions out of the way first. You understand.
Of course. We
So
wouldn't ask.
how, why, all of, give me, I'm sure you have an entire spiel for the hows and the whys and the why me. So far be it for me to get in your way. And I think like leans against the glass. It's this weird sort of, it's a little bit mocking. It's a little bit flippant, but it's also a, we are all like, it's a, how do I even describe it? It's a little bit mocking. It's a little flippant, but it's as much a like gleeful allowance of the pageantry. It's like I am sure that you as the possessor of this little weird world have a whole speech and I want you to deliver the entire experience to me.
The first thing that Derek says is, but if you could please not lean on the glass. That
Oh, I assume the fate of the world stands in the balance if I lean on the glass.
I think your fate not by virtue of anything I would do, might stand in the balance should you break through that glass. That it's not a good way to enter the world.
Great. I think, Derek, great answer. I like you already. Continue.
So I am a production manager for a well-known, I'm sure you have heard of it on your world. Most people have. Very popular game show, World Destroyers. And it has been a smash success across the spheres, across the planes. We invite luminaries like yourself, great entertainers who also have great evil in their hearts, to come and destroy our world for us while our audience enjoys the spectacle. So, what we would like you to do is really two things, although we can only imagine that you couldn't possibly fail at either of them. The first is to destroy the world, and the second is to do so in a way that will entertain our audience.
Silent for a very long moment. Great. Where do I sign?
Well, and there's like a pulls out like a clipboard with a very, very small print text on it, hands to you right here.
Fantastic. I assume that this is looking at this structure in front of me, some kind of world of magic and peril where my physical, emotional, and moral abilities will be shaken to their core. Am I in the ballpark?
I can only hope so. If it weren't, I'm not sure it would be as entertaining as we would like.
See, as I'm signing, I am so glad. Derek, is it all right if I call you Derek?
That is perfectly all right, sir.
This is phenomenal. Honestly, I've been through a lot of onboarding. I've been through a lot of introductory processes. This is one of the most seamless. You've keyed in. You know me. You know what I do. You understand the evil in my heart, and honestly, you understand that I'm going to put on a great show. I couldn't possibly be happier.
Well,
let's get a move on and let's destroy a world.
Wonderful. That just warms my heart. So as soon as you sign like whatever, the last page, you feel like internally to your body some kind of almost like wires have like locked in underneath your skin. And it passes very quickly, but you feel this kind of like you've never felt anything like that before. Like a network of wires has locked in underneath your skin. Yeah. And after that, Derek says, so please, if you'll just turn to the last page on the clipboard, you will see some options and information for your episode. And so what you will see, just out of character for a moment, is the map that I just sent you.
Sure.
So that's what Desmond is currently looking at. And Derek says, so you have a few options of where to begin. We have a few different starting points that are available to you. You will see there is a dot marked Fête de Reprise. You're welcome to start there. You may also start at the dot marked Memory Bank, or lastly, the dot marked Village circa 37.
Certainly feels, I mean, if I'm putting on a show, and knowing my particular approach to putting on a show, I'm feeling like Village circa 37 might be the approach to dig in and might be able to wow the people, draw out some booze, and make. I think if we're going to put on a show, we should put it in front of an audience, and Village approximately 37 sounds like a place where there's going to be an audience for me to put on a show for.
Wonderful. So Derek's like, all right, then. Wonderful choice. There really is not a wrong one. You'll see there's a door to your right there. There is, in fact, a door to your right. Nondescript, just office door. If you walk through there, next thing you know, that's where you'll be.
Phenomenal. I'm going to head to my car and gather my materials, and then we will embark on our grand adventure. and sure enough heads to his car, changes out of his, like, takes off his t-shirt, puts on his like leather vest, steps into a bathroom to put on his wrestling tights and boots, steps out in the full costume, wearing sort of a domino masquerade style mask with his larger luchador mask hanging on his belt, steps out, has a large, sort of like spiked thumb ring
Hmm.
on one thumb, throws his arms wide, says, the guilty pleasure has arrived, and it is time to put on a show. And I think walks through the door, and what do I see?
You walk through the door onto into a desolate scene. It is a cold, uh, cloudy day and an empty village in front of you of small, rundown, thatched roof huts, with like a village center with like a well in it. And as soon as you walk through, you can see that there's some kind of like sparkling kind of around you that is dissipating as you've walked through the door, and you're here, and you're also like immediately cold. Like it is colder than you are comfortable in what you're wearing. And responding seemingly to the sound and fury of you walking through, you see an older woman walk out of one of the huts, turn to you and say, "Ah, yep, you must be the one, right? Would I would very much like if I could dissuade you from what I can only imagine you've been sent here to do. What's your name? This new demon person here."
Um, Turns his back on this woman, holds out his arms, and yells, "You are in the presence." Turns back, two fingers to his lips, gives a little kiss, "of the guilty pleasure, Desmond LaFour. Hate me, love me. Either way, I'm going home a champion." Pauses, waiting, like mid, arms extended in midair in sort of a like model pose, just holding the pause there, waiting for a reaction.
With a sigh and absolutely no change of expression, she says, "Right, right, all right then. Um, well, uh, would you like to?" And she starts trying to lead you to one of the huts.
Oh, it's gonna be like that, is it? And I think like like walks behind, finally looks back. Is the door still there?
The door is gone. There is no door.
I think there's an immediate, between the cold and the lack of a door and that reaction, there's an immediate, oh, this might be more this might be more real than I was expecting. And like the act drops a little bit as he kind of walks into one of the doors, like, interesting. Interesting. So what's the rundown here? I am some kind of world destroying demon to be stopped by a great and powerful hero?
Yes, that's pretty much it. I would imagine you'll meet whoever that is soon enough. I'm sure you won't like them. You might know them. That's certainly a possibility. They often do that. Um, you know, my world has been destroyed by people like you for, I don't know, generations. I've been through several apocalypses myself. This She gestures towards this like kind of very crudely wrought stone sculpture that's vaguely humanoid in the center of this hut. It's like this is basically what's been keeping the town, what we sometimes refer to as village, and followed by the number of times this world has disappeared, from disappearing entirely along with the world. And you all just come through and you do this again and again and again. And there's really there's no point to it. You just have this audience watching you, and we suffer for it.
Hmm. But you're fine though, right? Like this is a I assume, the world is destroyed. This is I'm trying to wrap my head around all of this. We come in, we destroy, but like is this is perhaps this is perhaps a silly question. I can anticipate the answer, and I'm not exactly sure I'm going to be thrilled with the finished result. You
Well,
don't feel the pain of the world being destroyed, though.
do we feel the well? I mean, it depends on how it's destroyed. Some of you do it quickly, some of you do it in really drawn out ways. Plenty of pain there. There are ways that I prefer. There are faster ways and quick, and more painless ways. Sometimes we feel it, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we don't remember it. Sometimes people come back, sometimes they don't. Can't say it's great. Can't say I love it. There are people here who do. You'll probably meet them too. There are people here who are very invested in the world ending as many times as possible. But that's not me. And then as she finishes that, you hear like a very large, like metallic kind of crash outside. And she says, yeah, well, that will probably be whatever it is they gave you to get around here.
All right, then. Well, this is much less of a weird theater show than I was expecting, and much more of a weird existential Twilight Zone thing. That's not a reference that you understand. Listen, I'm going to go outside and take a look. I've got to unpack some things here.
You go outside and you see, in fact, it's your car. What kind of car do you have? What kind of car do you drive?
It is a let me look at. Yeah, it is a not necessarily vintage Ford Thunderbird. Like it is not a full on like 50s classic Thunderbird, but it is also not like the modern 2000. It's like somewhere like a 1994 Thunderbird where it's sort of in that clunky middle phase between being like a sleek sports car and the modern bleh shape that all cars look now.
Wonderful. Well, it is exactly your car, except in pristine condition, and seeming and already running, so seemingly with some gas and the lights on, and just sitting there in the middle of the village.
Well, it was nice of them to polish up my car. That's nice. So, turning back around, you.
Yes. My name is Tess, by the way.
Great, you.
Yes.
Where do I go to talk to someone in charge of this whole arrangement to get me out of here if I want to back out of my end of the bargain?
If you want to back out of your end of the bargain, I would suggest talking to. Well, there are two ways. There are two ways to do this. You could talk to the heretics. They're often called the cessation. I don't much like them, but they kind of agree with me on not wanting to end the world. You'll find them in the swamp, so you
Sure.
can talk to them. You could also maybe talk to the king. He's a sad man, but he's pretty desperate at this point, and maybe he could find some way to help you.
I do have a way of providing a distraction to people who are down on their luck. I am an entertainer after all.
Mhm.
Sounds like the king might be the way to go. You got a map? You got directions to this sad boy king?
My guess is that you have a map. They usually give you one.
Is the map that I have, is that a physical map object? Is it like a
Yeah,
HUD? This is it like a HUD? What's the aesthetic here?
So, well, there was a piece of paper that Derek handed you,
Got it.
but if you've looked in your car, that exact map appears as a like 90s era, kind of LCD or maybe LED display, like, on the dashboard of the car as well.
Apparently, I do have a map. Well, Tess, this has been immensely disappointing because I was really looking forward to being paid beyond my wildest dreams. But if this is going to be real and not a show, frankly, it might just be better for me to figure out how to get on my way and get home. Apologies in advance for whoever they send to destroy your world in my place.
Well, honestly, I must say you were a lot more amenable to what I had to say than almost anyone that comes through here. So, thank you.
Don't mention it. And here for your troubles. And Discus throws a signed 8x10 out of the car, climbs into the driver's seat, and is heading off towards the sad lord.
Okay, great. And as you can see on the map, to get there, you will have to go through one intermediate point, and the Sanctuary of the Copyists on there. And the other thing is the way when you get in the car, this map pops up, and you just kind of like see a path laid out in front of you, and again, very like video gamey style, you kind of just fast travel. Like the idea, you are kind of going over some kind of landscape, but it's extremely abstracted. It's very sort of dreamlike. You're in this kind of like, you kind of sit down, you hit the gas, and you're driving towards the next spot, and you're just kind of there. You find yourself, you had seen in the distance when you were in the village a kind of a tall sort of mountain range in the direction that you drive towards the Sanctuary of the Copyists. And you find yourself kind of climbing up in the car, driving up a switchback road towards what looks like a medieval monastery kind of perched on the edge of this mountain. And just as you're rounding one corner, you see this, what looks like someone pulled straight from a like 1950s superhero comic, some kind of villain pulled from like a 1950s superhero comic with like, it's like a little bit Green Goblin-esque, like green skin, big ears, just standing in the middle of the road, looking at your car, terrified, trying to jump out of the way.
I think Desmond hits the gas for a split second just to give the illusion that he's gonna speed up, and then swerves and then like hits the parking brake and the wheel to kind of do like a swerve stop directly in front of this goblin creature.
The goblin creature is kind of like cringing into a ball and like looks up. Oh, okay. Didn't. And sort of, and you, as soon as you get a closer look at them, you see they're like not entirely substantial. They are just a little bit transparent, and they come over to you and like, hi. It looks like, are you the demon this week?
This week, this is a lot more frequent than I was expecting. I mean, I guess I was. I'm kind of having an existential crisis right now. Can I say, who are you? Or am I supposed to fight you to the death right now?
No. I'm in fact, I want to help you out. That's what I'm here to do. I can't remember exactly how I got here, or I think I didn't quite. I was like you, and then I didn't do it. I got defeated, and then I don't really remember, and then I was here. But I think I'm supposed to help you.
When you say you were defeated, what does that mean exactly?
Well, I was trying to destroy the world, as I'm sure you are, as we all should be. My name's Timothy, by the way, um, and and it just didn't work out. I think who was it? Oh, it was that that I can't remember his name. I hated him so much, but he was just always one step ahead of me, and I
Oh,
do it.
I know the vibe.
Yeah,
You throw it, you push yourself to 11 and you find out that they've pushed themselves to a 12, and then suddenly you give everything you have to get to a 12, and for a split second you've got the upper hand until they find it in themselves to get to a 13, and on some level you both every time wonder where this is going to end and how long this is going to go. I know the type.
yeah, that's exactly it. Except I just couldn't get to the 13, and they could, and here I am. So I am right now. I want redemption. I want to help you. I want to help you do what you came here to do, and we can both get our reward. That's, I think that's why I'm here.
Interesting. Let me ask you this.
Mm.
That sucks.
What does? What are we? What sucks?
You came here, you gave everything that you had, and
Yeah.
now you're stuck in some sort of existential prison for what exactly? For if we could, you're going to lose some. Like, you're not going to get booked to win every match, and if they're going to expect this to be a shoot fight, they have to anticipate that you're not going to come up on top every time. If this isn't going to be a work, they're going to have to account for the possibility that you're going to go down in the third. And for you to get trapped into some kind of existential prison because you went down in the third, that sucks.
Well, yeah, you don't really get a second shot at this one. You either do it or you're just stuck here. That's kind of how it works.
I hate that.
Right, but if you do it, if you win, who knows, maybe this will even help me. But if you win, you heard what they said. You get anything you want.
Anything I want. And how do they provide anything that we want?
Well, they made this world, didn't they? You don't think they could make another just for you?
That's a real good point. You know what? Hop in, Timothy. We're going to head to a drive. We're going to get what we wanted out of this entire experience.
That sounds wonderful. I am just so what Desmond, I am so glad that we met.
This is the beginnings of a beautiful friendship.
It I am sure that it is. Um do you so you do you proceed up towards this monastery, or are you going to try to look for another way around and try to get direct towards the sad lord?
I think if we're gonna get where we're going, we kind of got to go through the monastery. So I think I'm driving up as quickly as possible. And as we're going, I think it's a real quiet drive. I think Desmond is markedly annoyed at the fast travel. Desmond, I think there's like kind of an internal monologue. I really like the driving. Going from place to place. I mean, there's parts of living the territory life that suck. There's parts of being a road warrior that are pretty terrible. But driving from place to place with nothing on my mind except the road in front of me is one of the parts that I really enjoy. And for this place to exist without giving me that pleasure,
Mm.
I think he is markedly annoyed at how easy it is to get to this monastery and get to all of these places.
Yeah, yeah. It's completely missing any sense of expanse of
Yeah.
land anywhere. It doesn't exist here. Um, so
He's deeply every time it happens, he comes out of it like deeply, profoundly annoyed.
yeah. That's disappointing. And so as you're driving up the very short little path up to this monastery, you hear, like it's thunder coming like over the horizon, the cheering of a crowd from the sky, but like a huge crowd cheering, and it's over the horizon. It's not near you, but you can hear like a huge crowd clapping and cheering. Um, and Timothy looks over and says, "Right, well, that'll be the people that came to stop you."
Came to stop me.
Right. Well, it's not like, it wouldn't be an interesting show to watch if you just got to destroy the world and no one tried to stop you.
All right, sure. And they're going to try and what do they get out of it if they stop me?
They get the same thing that you get.
They get the same thing that I get. So it's not tied to the world. So the creation of this is not tied to the destruction of the world. They can provide that whether or not we destroy the world.
Oh, yeah.
Really is just a matter of making things miserable for the people on this planet for the benefit of whatever audience is out there.
That's true. But hey, why don't we go up to this? Not everyone thinks that, I think you might want to talk to these people up there.
Let's have a conversation. And I think like he gets out, he's walking, he's kind of muttering to himself as he approaches the monastery, kind of trying to peer over the horizon or around corners to see who these people are that are here to oppose him.
Right. And you see like a group of all women dressed in kind of white but not washed recently, flowing robes, led by another older woman, very different from the one that you saw before, with a cigarette in her hand that sort of just looks like she has just like been preserved by cigarettes. And she has a pen in the other hand, and she's like, Desmond.
I think I've immediately bummed a cigarette off of her.
Oh, she is happy to give you one. She's just like, and lights it for you. It's like, there, Desmond. It's wonderful to see you here. I believe in what you do. I'd just like to help you. I'd like to help you out. That's what I'm here to do. This world needs ending. It always needs ending.
Why is that?
That's what keeps it going. If this world doesn't end, then, to be honest, it really truly ends. It won't be alive anymore. It just dies if it doesn't end. We gotta keep knocking it down. And Desmond, you can do it. You can do it.
Has that happened to other worlds before, or is this sort of a working theory situation?
No, this has happened to our I've been through, I don't know, 37 apocalypses. It's good stuff.
Right, but how many non-apocalypses have you been through?
Oh, the disappointments, there have been too many. And sometimes it's been a long time since someone succeeded. That your friend over there is one of the ones that failed. He wasn't very good. I think you are. I think you can do it. I think you're better than Timothy.
I mean, I'm better than a lot of people. That's not surprising, but sure. Play along.
Timothy's like, yeah, he's better than me.
I throw Timothy like a wink and a head tilt.
He's like, all right. Look, I think I know where you're going. Anyway, you're going to see the king, right? You're going.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, he's got some stuff that could help you, but you're gonna have to deal. You're gonna have to deal with his butler. He's a person like you, but he doesn't like anyone to get near the weapons. But he's got some stuff in there. He could help you out. He definitely could help you out.
Okay. Yeah. Let's Let's face destiny. Let's get a hold of weapons and let's end things.
Let's yes, this is what I like to hear. This is what I like to hear. Okay. All right then. You just keep on going. You find him. He's not gonna want to do it. He's a depressed man. He's not gonna think he can do anything to help you, but you just tell him if you can get to those weapons, you can get past that nasty butler, and give everyone what they want, everyone what they need, and give you everything you want.
I cannot wait to be given exactly what I want.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. Um, and uh, so, uh, what do you do next?
I think we are getting back in the car and I think I'm surveying the scene to confirm that the people that Timothy was describing are not like immediate in my immediate vicinity, and that if I get in my car I'm not going to get chased and beaten down.
They are not in your immediate vicinity. However, as you have been talking, you have heard the cheering approaching.
Oh, that's bad because that's exactly the thing that Dez is going to walk towards. And he hears cheering and he smiles. He goes, "Well, I mean, my adoring public. If I'm going to get to the king, if I'm going to take these weapons, I do have to deal with my adoring public. I am an entertainer after all. So let's go see the crowd and see what they have to say."
Okay, so you get back on the road and for a moment you're back in this extremely annoying fast travel, but extremely annoying to Desmond fast travel, and then all of a sudden you kind of like slow back into a kind of real time, and you're driving down a kind of a small coastal road, and the cheering is deafening, and um, you see ahead of you the last person in the world, or maybe the first person in the world, depending on your perspective, you want to see stepping out of. Tell me, what is Ellen Montal's car look like?
Ellen Mortal's car is it is hold on, I have to look something up. It is a Nissan Stanza. It is a blue, it is a sky blue Nissan Stanza that is just like a little tiny brick. It is all function and no, like it is all function and no style. It is just like this sort of like uh goofy little machine that pulls up.
Great. So, but Ellen Mortal uh, is stepping out of this Nissan Stanza with all the confidence, as if he was stepping out of, the a $500,000 Range Rover, and sees you approaching. I assume you may not have even stopped the car, and just stands directly in the middle of the road with absolute confidence, looking at you with a huge grin on his face.
I think it's the same. I think I speed up even more so than I did for Timothy. I speed up and then swerve and brake. Like it is a clear signal of I might run you down in my car right now. I'm choosing not to run you down in my car before climbing out of it, making sure that his mask is like very visible on my belt. Maybe I even give it a little tap and a smile, like. So they booked you too, huh? Did you at least ask for the rivalry rate?
Well, as you swerve, you get a little bit of satisfaction, because as much as he tries to maintain perfect composure just to the last minute, he flinches.
That's a good feeling.
And he says, "They promised me the same thing they're promising you.
Anything in the world that we desire, huh?
That's right. That's right. But only one of us gets it.
I mean, that's what they say.
You got other ideas?
When have I ever not had an idea that bucked the rules of the system?
Hey, pitch me.
And I look over, like, what's standing, like, what is behind? How much? Like, what's the crowd like behind Ellen Mortal? Are they hankering for a fight? Are they uncertain? Like, what's unfolding around us as we're having this conversation?
Yeah. So what's unfolding around you is the crowd is audible and sort of semi-ghostly visible in the sky, but they aren't there. They aren't like physically with you. So what's going on around you is Ellen Mortal standing in the middle of the road. You are right, like just feet away. You now notice from the entrance to this like kind of ramshackle, rundown palace by the shore that you were obviously headed towards, and you also notice, however, that there are several people, separate and apart from the crowd, arranged around kind of the cliffs around the coastline in like kind of dirt brown rags, all with crossbows aimed at you, and that Ellen Mortal is, and I of course I brought friends in case we can't come to an agreement.
Takes a step back. Hold on, it's been a long day. You mind if I do a warm up first? Shake it out a little bit.
Please take your time. Take your time, my friend.
Shakes the arms, circles the shoulders. Okay, here we go. Here we go. You stand there and you preach that you will save this world. You believe in nothing. This is little more than another trophy for your case. But I am here to tell you, my old friend, that I am going to take that trophy. I am going to take this world just like I took your mask. And like flashes the sort of like spiked thumb ring and goes like, and if I have to slit your throat and give you the bloody gouge to do it, I will do it. Because by the end of this night, there's going to be a lot more blood on my hands than your pathetic excuse for a soul. And then as I say that, I lean forward. So lock up with me?
Wait, you say what? Say that again, the last part?
I lean forward. I'm like, so lock up with me. I am signaling.
Yeah.
Very I like lean forward, like, we got to start working a match.
Okay. Yeah. So the crowd just erupts in like boos and hisses. It's this deafening roar from the sky all throughout your speech. Big success. And you can see Ellen Mortal smiling, like kind of trying to stop smiling, but smiling, appreciating this performance, and just goes straight into locking up with you.
We lock up and we start wrestling. Like we get into we lock up. He flips me over, does a headlock takedown. I do a head scissors lock on him. We both kip up to our feet. We both hold our fists forward. It's the opening of every wrestling match you've ever seen. And like as we start like aggressively grappling, I'm like pulling him close in those little moments of calling wrestling spots. So here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
They can give us whatever we want. It's not tied to the end of the world. It's not tied to you stopping the end of the world. They just can do that.
Yeah.
There's nothing saying we can't just force them to do that. Grab whatever weapons they've got here, show up at their doorstep, take what we want and leave.
Desmond, I love this idea. Let's fucking do it.
Here's how this works. Whip me into that wall, and like I wait for the Irish whip into the wall. I fall backwards. I'm clutching my I do the full Irish whip spin around so that I hit my back, which makes no sense. But I'm falling. I'm holding my back. Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna bring me to the edge. and then I'm gonna get away. Cool?
All right, let's do it. And the crowd is loving this. The crowd is just constant like rolling roar. Uh, and Ellen Mortal brings you right to the edge of the cliff.
And I am going to I lean forward. I'm like, gimme a soft, I signal, I flash my thumb to signal to Ellen Mortal to give me a fleshy part of the neck that is as far from the artery as possible, so that I can go for the bloody gouge. Banned in 17 states. One of my randomly generated special
Yes,
abilities.
yes. And he knows exactly what's coming, and he kind of grimaces and does.
And it is so at its core, this is Jeff. They thought way too much about a particular wrestling move. At its core, it's kind of a Samoan spike, which is sort of just like a thumb to the middle of the throat. Like it's a thumb jab to the middle of the throat. But with the addition of this like spiked thing, it's a thumb jab to like quote unquote the middle of the throat that like nicks a small fleshy part under the jaw so that it spurts a little blood. And then like it's a theatrical sort of like, if you imagine doing the throat slit gesture
Mhm.
across somebody else's throat, so it's like a stab and a slash with just that little cut that's going to start gushing blood. It's got the like intimidating looking thumb ring, so he's kind of like, it's time for the bloody gash, and he does the stab, he does the slash, a little bit of blood starts spurting, and I'm like, you sell it, I'm gonna run.
Okay. So yeah, you do that. Uh, Ellen Mortal goes down screaming, "You bastard!" Is
I'm
booing and hissing, and
I'm doing the Roman gladiator side thumb with the ring with a bit of blood dripping from it to the audience, like
as like several crossbow bolts like rain down right next to you because they certainly don't understand what the
oh
hell's
shit.
going
There's a clear moment of like, oh fuck, oh I gotta, hey buddy, I gotta go. Just once you get back to your no, once you get back to them, let them know the deal, and then we're gonna do a whole face turn angle when I get to the king. Got it?
I got it. I got it. And tried to like jump up simultaneously acting like he's dying and also like holding a hand to his companions to stop shooting you like and they seem sort of confused enough to like slow down a moment, you know?
Yeah. Rushes full speed towards the ramshackle palace to get to the king.
And Timothy is like running behind you. What's going on? What's the plan? What's happening here?
The plan is that we are going to kind of like mutters like, the plan is that we are going to, well, let's get to the king and then we'll go from there. Just trust me, Timothy. We're all going to get exactly what we want.
I don't know. This sounds okay. Anyway, so you rush ahead. The crowd kind of slightly diminishing behind you in the boos coming from the sky, and you rush into the kind of entryway of this this ramshackle castle by the shore. It looks very much like a kind of like Jack Vance, like far future, the world is ending, medieval / like, beyond all known technology kind of castle that has like strange geometric shapes and everything in it, along with it sort of being a medieval castle, except that it's all kind of falling apart and also purple. And you rush in and are almost immediately greeted by this figure kind of walking out, swaying a little, clearly holding a glass of wine in one hand, luxuriant white and purple robes on, the parts that are white stained almost purple by the wine that he's drinking. Oh, it's another one of you here. Well, look, I don't know. I can't help you.
I'm going to stop you right there. Can I ask what you're drinking?
Oh, it's incredible stuff. Tell me, like Desmond. We have not introduced this yet, but
yes, this is another one of the abilities. This was a random die result, where I rolled social it was like a social skill that I picked up via hobbies that is precocious in nature. I think like as I like approach, Desmond is an award-winning vintner. A man simply must have an appreciation for fine wine.
So tell me, what would be a wine that Desmond has simply considered something that he will never be able to have?
Something that he will never be able to have.
But desires, that would just fundamentally out of reach, but just only in his deepest fantasies could have.
There is like I think what I'm gonna say is like there is a particular vintage. Maybe it is in part because Jeff have realized I have finally found a kind of wine that I really like. So I'm gonna lean in and I'm gonna drop that here. There is a particular vineyard that like no longer exists because it burned to the ground, that specialized in like a particular kind of lambrusco. A lambrusco wine is like a sort of a fizzier, sweeter wine that dates really back to like ancient Roman times. And like this particular vineyard was the oldest operating lambrusco grape vineyard in existence. Like it was an Italian wine. It dated back to maybe not like full on like ancient Rome, but like it has gone back centuries. It burned down those particular grapes, that particular like approach to bottling and like is all gone. Like it no longer exists. And like that is the particular like vineyard vintage bottle that like if you were to ask him when he drops character, Desmond would say like that is the wine that like I think about, because it is enjoying wine is in part like enjoying history. And like much, I Desmond and Jeff are now fully blurring together. Like there is like to something like a wine, like there is very similar to wrestling, there is like a kind of storytelling to it. Like you can experience, the vintage, like the way there's so many factors impact the taste of a wine that like drinking a particular like high quality bottle of wine is like really taking in, the story of what happened there, like the story of the people that farmed the grapes. Like there's so much story there. And like this is a story that has its roots centuries before I was ever born and like will never exist again. And the idea of never tasting that wine, I think, breaks Desmond's heart.
And does it have a name?
The name of this wine is it is For the Love of Cato, because apparently Cato the Elder stated that a produce of 2/3 of an acre could make enough wine to fill 300 amphoras. Thank you, Wikipedia.
There you go. So King Mel, just says, for the love of Cato, I got a case of the stuff down. I got more.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Did you say you have a case of For the Love of Cato?
Yeah, I do. And I'll tell you what. When this world gets destroyed, I never get the same wine again. It's always a different one.
And then you have to like the other wines are good, but you have to then sit there and think like, I can never have this drink again. And you just think about like, and you have to have you have to hold on to the memory of that wine, and it becomes harder and harder with every glass, because like You don't know if you're misremembering the little details of what you've drank, if you're adding in the things that you've drank since then.
Meld like looks at you for a second and it's like, yeah, I mean, it is pretty good wine. Drains the rest of the glass and just like throws the glass over his shoulder.
I've never been more tempted to destroy this world and not look back, but it's fine. Let's crack a bottle, and I'd love to tell you what I would like to happen here.
And all right, it kind of like he ushers you in, and you go inside and see who he introduces as Eric, who is this like just pristine human being, like cleaner than anything that you have seen in this world, and has a kind of face that you simultaneously can't remember and recognize as like perfectly beautiful, and says, "Oh, Eric, would you please get us several bottles of For the Love of Cato?" And Eric bows, leaves, comes back with again, like absolutely precise motions, sets the bottles down, opens all three, lays out glasses for all three of you. Timothy is looking around very confused at what's going on, and steps back into the shadows.
And I think like pops the cork of the wine, gives it a sniff, gives it a pour, takes a sip, like sinks into a chair and says, like, leans forward and goes, "So, King Mel, here is what I want to propose to you." And I would love to pitch that the next several things happen like in a montage.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a good montage moment as I'm narrating, we're seeing shots of this like happening in real time.
Yeah, let's do it.
So what is going to happen is that the opposition forces to the World Destroyers are going to kick open the door of the castle any moment, demanding that I stop my quest to destroy this world. We are going, and we see that happen. We see Ellen Mortal lead his crossbowmen in, standing in the courtyard, over a quote unquote beaten and bloodied body of Eric is Desmond, wine glass in hand for maximum drama. We are going to have a battle, and as we are battling, we are going to describe everything that we've heard, the world being held hostage, the immense gifts bestowed on those, the torment that is subjected to those that fail to accomplish their mission. And like as we see all of this happen, we hear Ellen Mortal give like a not especially like convincing speak, like it's very staged, it's like incredibly staged. As we are at the moment before death, what is going to occur is like I am going to push Ellen Mortal to the verge of death. I am going to hold my blade to his throat, and I am going to denounce my mission, and he is going to denounce his. And like I hold up his hand. He's like half unconscious. I hold up his hand in a victory pose. There is another way that we can take this world. Of course, we have already pre-planned all of this. We are professionals. You've brought in wrestlers. We're going to work a finish. At that moment, a quote unquote angry mob starts breaking down doors of the castle. There's like a quick shot where Desmond grabs Mel by the throat, slams him into a room, and goes, "I'm so sorry. We have to make it look real. Can you tell us where the big scary weapons are? We'll be on our way." Gathers weapons, stands in like a town square and points them like towards the semi-spectral audience and says, "Would the producers of World Destroyers be so kind as to greet us? Or do we need to start executing audience members?" And I assure you, if our bullets happen to pierce through some spectral form or another, we will continue trying and we will spend every moment until we find a way back home. You can put yourselves in the line of fire, or you can swear every single audience member here to death. Now, to those of you watching, would you rather be put to death, or would you rather me have a word with your producers?
And I think you hear a kind of like rumbling in the sky, and there's for a moment like the whole world kind of wavers, and you hear Derek's voice say, Desmond, what is this? What do you think you're getting? You have signed several contracts. It is very precisely legally binding. It is spiritually binding. I don't know if you noticed. I don't know what you think you're going to get out of this. You have coverage here.
Yeah, kind of a change of the contract terms. This is sort of a less of a performance piece and more of an armed robbery. You can kind of dictate where we go from there.
So your plan is to shoot the weapons just kind of like into the ether, into the like these are the king's weapons are like kind of a sort of soul version of Warhammer 40,000 virus bomb. So they will like hit a place and just like annihilate all souls in that place. So are you just gonna like shoot those into the sky?
I think that's the game plan. Like, I don't know if that's gonna work, but like, I know that that's Desmond's thought process of like, if I've got a soul destroying weapon, I'm gonna point it in the direction of any audience members or any bystanders that desperately don't want to have their souls rended, so that I can kind of like hold them hostage. So Derek has to confront me.
Got it. And so I you hear like an actual kind of like panicked fleeing sound from the sky, and you hear and Derek just comes over, and the nervousness is like entirely left his voice, and he just says, well then, let's shut it down. And then all of a sudden, like, just the world's lights go out, and the next thing you know, it's you, Ellen Mortal, Timothy, and you are just in a vast, open, clearly outer space area. You can see kind of in the distance floating spheres, not like you would see in, our IRL outer space.
Yeah.
And both of your cars are there, and the spheres are yours to explore.
And I think like signals to Ellen Mortal. So I guess we're hopping from place to place until we find somebody that we are going to hold at gunpoint, rob, and get our every desire. Sound like a plan?
Sounds like a perfect plan to me. And Timothy's like, "Oh my god, this is the best! I got out of there.
We got you out. We're gonna get you a hell of a lot more." And I think like as he climbs in the car, the last thing that he says to Timothy, by the way, can you take a bump? We'll teach you. Don't worry, it's fine. It's mainly just falling on your back. It's easy. And I think we watch the cars like veer head on full speed towards one of these spheres, and I think that is game.
That is game. Great.
Fuck yeah, that was great. That was so much fun. I'm so happy with that. Let me ask you, what was your favorite moment from play?
I think my favorite moment was kind of that moment when you encountered the king, and then we were able to kind of go back and forth about that wine, and then sort of merge into a climax from there.
Yeah.
It really brought some kind of emotional resonance to that moment that otherwise wouldn't have been there, and I like that part a lot. How about you?
I really loved and this is a thank you to you. Like it was such a satisfying moment, like getting to I guess like you could call it running manning the thing where I blew up the thing, but like get that moment of like I am denying the system. It was immensely satisfying. Like the central sort of conundrum of like, this is something that people need. This is something that is important. This is something that like is going to make people suffer. And like the decision to be like, no, I'm actually opting out of the entire arrangement. Like,
yeah,
that decision is so satisfying. And that just speaks to like how well mapped out all of that was. And like the stakes being real, where like denying it felt palpable and felt like transgressive, but in a way that honored everything that came before it.
Oh, I love that. That really makes me happy because that's very much like when I set up a game like this, like what I always try to do in a kind of macro way is sort of be like, okay, I think there might be things that someone might want to achieve in playing this. Like, for example, just not playing the game at all, not trying to destroy the world, not trying to save the world, but trying. And I'm like, I have no idea how you're going to do that.
Yeah.
But and that and setting it up and then having a player like you be ambitious enough to be like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to do that is so much more satisfying than if I had any sense of how you would achieve it.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's you said it at the top of the episode, but it really is that it's building that toy box, right? It's going like it's fun to put the toys down and say like we'll figure out what they're gonna do once we're in the sandbox, we'll figure out like how the toys are gonna mesh together. But like having cool toys on the table is like enough to say like, okay, but then it's the mutual agreement that like we're going to play with the toys. We're maybe going to break the toys, but like we'll go with it and we'll see where the thing takes us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also really liked, and I'm really glad you embraced this. It's there are definitely different ways to play, but one of the ways that I really like to play Between the Skies is in a more collaborative storytelling way. And where, not only did we not roll any dice or actually use any procedures really don't. I think I rolled dice like twice for like encounters, but also like we kind of naturally did a thing that I really like happening in these games, which is blurring the lines between referee and player and like
sure.
on that kind of shared fiction. Yeah.
And I think that's what I mean. Also, I think like that's one of the things that like works really well when it's just the two of us in this space, and when we're kind of like playing in this space where it's just the two of us and we're bouncing ideas. I think it comes really natural to kind of say like, okay, cool, I've got ideas, but like, if we are equally holding sort of authority over the experience that we're having, it opens up for that kind of collaboration very naturally. It's one of the things about this particular space that I really treasure.
Yeah, I really like that. And it's something that I try to open a space for in the way that the game is set up, yeah, for sure.
I love that. Well, thank you again for playing this with me. This was an absolute delight.
Oh,
Real quick before we wrap up, where can people find you, your work, in the game online?
Yeah, so most importantly, go to exaltedfuneral.com and you can sign up to be notified when the hardcover will be available, which is in 2 days. And you can get it there. You can also find me at huffa.itch.io. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm not very active on either, but give me a shout at Nervous Fog, both on Instagram and Twitter, or X, I guess. And those are all the places you can find me.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again for joining us. This was an absolute delight. And for now, I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me. Thanks, Past Me, and thanks again to Huffa for coming on the show. That game was so exactly up my alley. Like, truly, there is nothing that I love more than making a weird little guy and putting him in situations and getting to, like, indulge in all of these different things that I loved. Like, it was so gleeful. I just had such a blast with it. Be sure to head to huffa.itch.io or check the show notes for your own copy of Between the Skies, and be sure to follow Huffa on social media at Nervous Fog. You can also find us on pretty much whichever social media you prefer at Party of One Pod or Jeff Stormer, depending. And if you enjoy the show and you want to support it, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. Subscribe to our newsletter at buttondown.email/partyofonepodcast, and join our Discord community at bit.ly/partyofonediscord. You can support us financially at patreon.com/JeffStormer or ko-fi.com/JeffStormer. You can give us a nice iTunes review, shout us out to a friend, give us some love on social media. You can buy some Party of One merch at bit.ly/partyofonemerch. Or if you're looking for more great podcast content, you can check out All My Fantasy Children, which is a character creation, storytelling, and world building podcast that I make with my best friend in the world, Aaron Catano Saez. We take a listener submitted prompt and spin it into an original fantasy character, populating a shared universe one story at a time. You can also check out Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast, which is an actual play about a heartless witch, a cozy house, and the many people making their homes inside. Both of those you can find wherever you get your podcasts. Party of One is, as always, produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. Music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Ran featuring the D&D Sluggers, and the Party of One logo is by Evan Rowland. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rates, coming on the show as a guest, or about press coverage of the show, you can email me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And unless I am mistaken, that is all we do here. So until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on, everybody.